Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, today we are going to begin with world literature, and we are taking up the easiest novel, that is Mahatma Gandhi's The Story of My Experiments with Truth. And according to me, this is an easy novel because most of us know about it. So, I am going to take up the two key concepts that are often asked in your PYQs, and that is also very much important when we talk about this autobiography. And these two key concepts have shaped Gandhi's life, personal life, and as well as his political philosophy. So, it is truth and non-violence. We all know about these two terms, but we are going to talk about them in context of this particular novel. So when we talk about the story of my experiments with truth, this novel repeatedly shows that how Gandhi connects these two concepts of truth, satya, and non-violence, ahimsa, together. He treats these two concepts as inseparable principles. According to Gandhi, an individual cannot attain truth through violence, hatred, or revenge. Truth and non-violence for Gandhi works together both in his personal life as well as his political movements, as I've already told you. So, when we talk about Gandhi's idea of truth, what for Gandhi is truth? In simple words, if we see, truth means to speak honestly. But for Gandhi, truth was not simply speaking honestly, rather, it meant much more than that, and it had a deeper meaning. As Gandhi quotes in his novel that truth is God. It is important, please quote this. Truth is God. Though I'll give you the notes, I'll share the notes. So, for Gandhi, truth was not simply speaking honestly, rather, it meant moral purity, search for a spiritual reality, justice, self discipline. All these ideas were related to the truth. These concepts or these ideas together formed the principle of truth. So, according to Gandhi, an individual can only attain truth through non-violence. Non-violence was the way or was the path to attain our destination, that is truth. So, when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi in his novel says that he believes that it is violence that creates hatred and falsehood in a society, whereas non-violence for him was something that was creating moral strength, that creates brotherhood, that creates understanding in human society. So, as I have already told you, you need to focus on this aspect that for Mahatma Gandhi, one this truth was a destination of an individual. That was our goal, and this goal could only be attained through the path of non-violence. So that's why we can say that truth and non-violence are shown to be inseparable principles in Gandhi's autobiography. Then we talk about how Gandhi has shown the connection between truth and non-violence in the novel. Then you can show that how um, Gandhi shows that truth requires respect for human beings. Now, this idea is really beautiful. I find it really good because Gandhi believed that every individual, each one of us carries a part of truth. You and I carry a part of truth, be it the slightest truth that we have in ourselves. And none of us, even I, even you, or even any brilliant personality out there, do not possess the complete truth. So we have no right to hate each other. When I do not possess the whole truth, when you do not possess the whole truth, when each one of carry, when um, the person or the beggar there also carries that slightest part of truth in him, when Ambani or any priest out there does not carry the whole or complete truth, then what is the difference between us? Nobody here is a complete saint, nobody here is a complete sinner. So that is the concept here. According to Gandhi, he believes that every individual on this earth carries a part of truth, and that is the reason we need to love each other, because none of us carry or possess the complete truth. So what is the difference between us? What is the rift about? What is the hatred about? Nobody gets the right to hate each other or the other person, because we ourselves do not possess the whole truth. So this idea leads to non-violence. So now you see that truth and non-violence are connected, because Gandhi says that you and I do not carry the whole truth, but we carry some part of the truth, and therefore दिस आइडिया लीड्स टू नॉन वायलेंस। जब ना आप पूरी तरीके से सही हो, ना मैं पूरे तरीके से सही हूँ, ना मैं पूरी तरीके से महान हूँ, ना आप पूरी तरीके से महान हूँ, बट येस वी स्टिल कैरी दैट 1% or 2% ऑफ दैट love, that humanity, the truth, the moral purity, 0.1% in us. So that leads to non-violence, because हम लोग कोई भी हम एक ही पेडेस्टल में, हम एक ही स्तर पे है। नो बडी इज अबव और बिलो अस। ना ही कोई ज़्यादा हाई स्ट्रेटा पे है जिसने पूरा ट्रूथ अटेन कर लिया है, ऐसा कोई नहीं है। ना ही कोई ऐसा इंसान है जिसमें बिल्कुल ही ट्रूथ ना हो। That's why it this idea of truth leads to non-violence. That so you can give this aspect if truth and non-violence का connection पूछा जाए उसकी नॉवल में, महात्मा गांधी की नॉवल में, उनकी नॉवल में, सॉरी। So then we say that Mahatma Gandhi believes that if any individual injures others, so this injury is not on the other person, rather it is an injury on truth itself. And देखो, the ultimate goal according to Gandhi is to attain the truth in life. The truth here means the moral purity, the search for spiritual reality. We know every individual here on the earth, सब लोग यही मानते हैं that there is something called मोक्ष। सब मोक्ष की प्राप्ति में लगे हैं। So that is something that we are talking about here, truth, the spiritual reality. If we need to go there, he is saying that the path is non-violence। आप वही है कि आप पाप करे जा रहे हो and then you expect towards the end of the life that you are going to attain moksha. That does not work. So he explains that you cannot injure, if you are injuring others or harming others, and it means that you are injuring the truth itself. You are not going to attain the truth itself that everybody here is striving for. So listening to others, patience, forgiveness, compassion, all these becomes necessary for discovering truth. Okay, so these are the paths of non-violence or humanity in general that leads us to the path of truth. Now, let's move ahead. This was the basic idea about truth and non-violence. That how, according to Mahatma Gandhi, truth was not simply speaking honestly, rather, it meant much more than that. And then we talked about non-violence, that it is the path of non-violence that we have to go through in order to achieve or attain our ultimate destination of truth. Okay, फिर हमने पढ़ा कि किस तरीके से हम सब में none of us are purely, or we do not possess the complete truth, and though each one of us carry the small part of truth, ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट हो गया। देन लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड। अब हम मेन एस्पेक्ट पे आते हैं, अपनी इन दो कहानी कॉन्सेप्ट्स को एक कहानी से जोड़ते हैं। दैट इज़ एन इम्पॉर्टेंट इंसिडेंट ऑफ गांधीज लाइफ, जो कहीं ना कहीं शुरुआत करता है ऑफ दीज टू कॉन्सेप्ट्स, that is truth and non-violence. So you may say that there was this incident of his childhood that shaped his perspective of truth and non-violence. So it is an important incident, and whatever question is asked, you can relate this incident to that question accordingly, and write it, because it is an important part of your novel or autobiography. So, this is an important episode of this autobiography, which is Gandhi's confession to his father. Now, what happens here is, when Gandhi was a young boy, he stole a small piece of gold, but he felt guilty about it, and ultimately he wrote a confessional note to his father. And when his father got to know about this, when he read that confessional letter or note, he did not react violently. Otherwise, normal reaction of any person would be, he would burst out, he would scold that kid, like, yeah, of course, yes, of course, he felt guilty, but still the first reaction that is usually seen is of an outburst. But it didn't really happen here. So what happened here was basically that instead of punishing Gandhi, his father responded with tears. He forgave him. So there's this important line that Gandhi writes: those pearl drops of love cleansed my heart. So you can quote this. So when you will write about this incident, when you will tell about the reaction of the father, then you can quote these lines: those pearl drops of love cleansed my heart. So he says that when his father started crying, and when it was basically the tears of forgiveness, because his son realized his mistake and he wrote a confessional note. He was guilty, and he was the one who told him by himself that it was his mistake. So his father was a man who, a compassionate man, we may say through this incident, that he forgave him and he started crying. And this was the time, this particular incident, this reaction of his father, or this moment was something that deeply affected Gandhi, and he realized that it is the truth that cleanses the soul. Gandhi spoke truth. He realized his mistake, he confessed his mistake, and because of his truthfulness, his father um, felt this feeling of compassion, and that is why he forgave Gandhi. So he realized that truth cleanses the soul, and he also got to know that love is stronger than punishment. If his father would have been violent to him, if he would have scolded him, then you may never know. He would have gone to another path, like he would have been rebellious kid. We are just taking an example here, that the consequences, depending upon the situation, could have been different if the reaction was different. So, what happened here is that the father's reaction was unexpected. Rather than punishing Gandhi, he reacted with love. So, this was the incident that changed Gandhi's heart as well. So, this shows that how truth is connected with non-violence. If his father would have beaten him up, then might be Gandhi would have realized that next time I'm not going to confess anything, next time I'm not going to tell him anything. That happens usually. I and you, if when we were small, when we were kids, kids are innocent generally. If I'll make a mistake, for example, and I'll go and tell that this and this happened, but my parents are going to scold me, then I will realize that, oh, I need not to tell them again, because I am going to get scolded, because वो conditioning हो जाती है ना उस तरीके से. वही होता है, because अब जब हम we grow up, I have seen such kids. स्टार्टिंग में हम पूछ लेते हैं कि हाँ, हम बाहर जा रहे हैं या कुछ कर रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स की रिएक्शन अगर हम वैसे ना मिले, दे आर नॉट सपोर्टिव, रादर थोड़ा अथॉरिटेरियन ज़्यादा है, आपको रोक ज़्यादा रहे हैं, तो वो बच्चे क्या करते हैं, छुपते छुपाते चीज़ें करने लग जाते हैं, अपने पेरेंट्स को अगली बार बताएंगे नहीं. वो रिएक्शन पे ही आपका पूरा व्यक्तित्व बनने लग जाता है, पर्सपेक्टिव बनने लग जाता है. सिमिलरली हियर, Gandhi's perspective also changed, and this brought this honesty of Gandhi and this reaction of his father brought a moral transformation, and it created an inner change. This compassion of his father created an inner change in Mahatma Gandhi, and this incident was something that made him realize that how much truth and non-violence is important in an individual's life, and this can change, or this can lead to moral transformation in the society as well. And this was something that was carried in his whole life along with his political philosophy. ठीक है. Now let's move forward and we talk about some important aspects of Gandhi's life, that how Gandhi throughout his life experimented with his food habits, his simplicity. He was a simple man, as now we say, and he experimented with celibacy, and we have already talked about self discipline. So he believed that one needs to control uh, his or her desires. Now, for Gandhi, inner truth cannot be achieved without self discipline. For Gandhi, self discipline was very much important, and it was a way, of course, it was a way to attain truth. So, for him, one cannot achieve truth without self discipline, and uncontrolled desires often leads to violence. It was something that Gandhi believed. See, I'm telling you these points that so that you can add these to your answers. अगर आपको नॉन वायलेंस और ट्रूथ पे आता है, and most of the time they would ask you in any which ways either about truth or non-violence, लेकिन आप इन दोनों के ही पॉइंट्स को मर्ज करके लिख सकते हो, because I have already told you this, that these two principles are inseparable. When you talk about truth, you have to talk about non-violence. Okay, so these points can be added. So पहला क्या बोला मैंने आपको, कि गांधी बिलीव दैट one needs self discipline in life in order to achieve inner truth. Okay, then secondly he believes that किसी की uncontrolled desires हो, that also leads to selfishness and violence. Uncontrolled desires, जब आपका अपने इंद्रियों पे वश नहीं है, या क्या बोलते हैं, लाइक यू कैन नॉट कंट्रोल इट, आप पे काबू नहीं है, यस, आप अपनी इंद्रियों को काबू में नहीं रख पा रहे हो, तो ये भी वॉयलेंस क्रिएट करने में और सेल्फिशनेस क्रिएट करने में कहीं ना कहीं एक पार्ट प्ले करता है. For example, when we have seen, like during teenage, हम कहते हैं कि जवानी का खून ज़्यादा जल्दी खौल जाता है, and towards your adulthood you become more calm. लड़ाइयों में भी देखा जाए तो स्कूल टाइम में बहुत लड़ाइयाँ होती थी. Boys used to fight a lot because that was the time when we cannot control ourselves. हमें खुद पे उतना कंट्रोल नहीं होता है, लेकिन as we grow old we know हमें अपनी जान ज़्यादा प्यारी हो जाती है rather than fighting randomly with any individual. So that is something that he talks about, that how when you do not have control over your desires, when you do not have control over um, yourself, it creates selfishness. You become selfish, you become violent, and therefore Gandhi says that self control is something that is a form of non violence. खुद को कंट्रोल करना भी एक तरीके की नॉन वायलेंस है towards oneself and towards the others. As I have already given you example that how it can be a non-violence to oneself as well. आप खुद पे कंट्रोल करो. We recently saw that incident of the train जहाँ पे these two guys were fighting over I don't know what, and one of them killed the other one. Like that was a petty fight. लेकिन people nowadays have lost control over their senses, and that is why it is important. Like if the other person has low IQ, it's better that you control yourself and get away with that situation because your life is more important. So that is why he says that self control is a form of non violence towards oneself and towards others. जितना सेल्फ कंट्रोल रखोगे उतना दूसरों के लिए भी बेटर है, उतना अपने लिए भी बेटर है, शांति रहेगी दोनों साइड. So these three important points, you just remember these, that he says that self discipline is important for inner truth. दूसरा है कि आपके जो अनकंट्रोल्ड डिजायर्स है वो सेल्फिशनेस और वायलेंस क्रिएट करते हैं, एंड सेल्फ कंट्रोल इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ नॉन वायलेंस टू वन सेल्फ एज वेल एज अदर्स. दीज थ्री पॉइंट्स कैन ऑल्सो बी एडेड. देखो, पहले आपने ट्रूथ बताया फॉर गांधी व्हाट ट्रूथ meant. Then you related it with non-violence. Then you talked about that important incident in the novel. Now I have given you certain points that are related with गांधी एंड हिज आइडियोलॉजी कि किस तरीके से सेल्फ डिसिप्लिन कंट्रोल डिज़ायर्स को कंट्रोल करने के लिए कहते हैं वो. ये एस्पेक्ट्स जो नॉवल में थोड़े बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. थोड़े बहुत मतलब ये चीज़ें इंपॉर्टेंट है, बाकी ट्रूथ एंड नॉन वायलेंस ओवरऑल ही इम्पॉर्टेंट है. देन यू कैन ऑल्सो टॉक अबाउट हिज रिलेशनशिप विद हिज वाइफ कस्तूरबा. दो they do not ask you these type of questions, but in case कुछ ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है तो आपको एक बार पता होना चाहिए, ताकि कभी कभी क्या होता है, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि आपने कोई चीज़ पढ़ी हुई हो और वो ही आ जाए. Sometimes they ask you out of the box question that you have not prepared. So you need to be prepared for it in a way. Whatever you know, firstly read the question properly. Then begin with the क्वेश्चन. लाइक क्वेश्चन कुछ पूछा गया है किसी पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट के बारे में, तो शुरू उसी से ही करो. एग्जामिनर इज गोइंग टू रीड द फर्स्ट पेज एटलीस्ट, अगर नहीं पूरा पढ़ रहा है तो थोड़ा बहुत शुरू करो. कुछ तो इतना मास्टर्स में तो आगे हो तो थोड़ा बहुत तो आप कुछ जोड़ जुड़ा के शुरुआत कर सकते हो. बस थोड़ा थोड़ा सा उसका लिंक बनाना है आपको पहले पेज में. देन whatever you have studied about that unit, start writing about it in the other pages, relating it to the question. थोड़ा बहुत उस पहले जो भी क्वेश्चन है आपको समझ आ रहा है चाहे नहीं आ रहा है उसके वर्ड्स लिख लो कि अच्छा मैं नॉन वायलेंस के बाद में लिखता हूँ, पूछा मेरे से कस्तूरबा के बारे में है, थोड़ा सा बीच में कस्तूरबा के बारे में भी लिख लेता हूँ. So you need to know how to relate questions, right? Let's not waste time. So I was talking about the relationship of Mahatma Gandhi with wife Kasturba. So Gandhi is, in his novel, honestly admits that in his early married life, he behaved possessively towards his wife, that is Kasturba Gandhi. But later in his life, he realized that domination is also a kind of violence. And when Gandhi grew spiritually, he realized that true love also requires equality and respect. And why I have written this point of his relationship with Kasturba Gandhi, because this shows his self-criticism. Gandhi's commitment to truth can be seen that through this novel, that he is exposing his weakness. Although he could have written that I have always been nice to my wife, or he would have skipped the whole part, like लिखते ही नहीं अपनी वाइफ के बारे में कि मैंने कुछ पोजेसिवनेस दिखाई थी स्टार्टिंग अर्ली मैरिड लाइफ में, सिर्फ लेटर स्टेजेस के बारे में बताते. बट ही डिड नॉट लाइक दिस ही डिड नॉट राइट लाइक दिस, रादर ही शोड हिज ओन वीकनेस. उन्होंने खुद क्रिटिसिज्म किया कि स्टार्टिंग में येस आई बिहेव्ड पोजेसिवली, एंड व्हेन ही वाज ग्रोइंग स्पिरिचुअली ही रियलाइज्ड कि डोमिनेशन भी एक तरीके की वायलेंस ही हो गई. एंड इफ आई ट्रूली लव समबडी आई नीड टू गिव रिस्पेक्ट एंड इक्वालिटी टू दैट पर्सन. अब इस पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट और इस पर्टिकुलर रिलेशनशिप जो मैं आपको कस्तूरबा गांधी के साथ बता रही हूँ, उसका तात्पर्य ही यही है दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर when if you have to critically analyze his autobiography, तो थोड़ा बहुत आपको पता होना चाहिए कि इसमें क्या प्रोज कॉन्स है। तो आप अगर देखा जाएगा तो critics normally they praise this novel because he has done self criticism as well। अगर हम गांधी जी को कहे कि गांधी जी ने ऑटोबायोग्राफी खुद की प्रशंसा के लिए नहीं की है, rather he shows that how his life in his life he has learned a lot। it was not about giving a philosophy. This novel is not about philosophy that he is giving you a philosophical lecture. Rather, it shows that how he has learned in his life, and he continued learning. He had made mistakes in his life as well. Sorry for the disturbance. Yeah. Uh, so, in this sense, this point is important to show that Gandhi has done self-criticism in his novel. It is not about his own self, his achievements in life. So it shows his weaknesses, and that's why this novel is important because Gandhi has criticized himself. तो अगर क्रिटिसिज्म के बारे में बात आती है तो आपको कस्तूरबा गांधी वाला पॉइंट देना पड़ेगा that you'll show that how towards the beginning of his married life he was possessive towards his wife, but he realized that domination is also a kind of violence। and then जैसे उसकी spiritual उनकी spiritual growth होने लगी, उन्हें समझ आया कि if I love him if I love her truly I need to give equality and respect to my partner। uh, so this point is going to be under your criticism। कि अगर गांधी जी के हम सेल्फ क्रिटिसिज्म के बारे में बात करते हैं, उनकी नॉवल किस तरीके से खुद की वीकनेसेस को भी दिखाती है, सिर्फ खुद की तारीफें नहीं कर रही है। ही इज़ नॉट प्रेजिंग हिमसेल्फ थ्रू आउट द नॉवल। At this point is important. You are going to talk about truth, non-violence, and how they are inseparable. Then you will talk about the incident of autobiography. Then you will give those 2 to 3 points of self-discipline, celibacy, etc. And then you are going to talk about that how he criticizes his own self. He shows his weaknesses as well in the novel or his autobiography through citing the relationship of Mahatma Gandhi with Kasturba Gandhi. Now let's move towards the political idea in the novel. We'll begin with Satyagrah. We know about Satyagrah, like we have read about it many times. So Satyagrah was attaining truth through non-violence again. Gandhi developed this idea of Satyagraha. What does Satyagraha means? Satyagraha means holding firmly to truth. Okay, so if like you just need to write this as well, like what does Satyagraha means? Satyagraha means holding firmly to truth. Now again here truth comes up. This idea of holding the truth firmly or holding the truth is the main political philosophy or main political weapon of Mahatma Gandhi. According to him, injustice should be resisted but without hatred and violence. We know that Gandhi believed in non-violence, and even in his political, political philosophies, he focused on this aspect that you need to retaliate against or you need to rebel against the Britishers, but in a non-violent manner. Even if you want to resist, do it in a non-violent manner. Do not create hatred. Do not create violence. So, in a way, Gandhi believed that a true satyagrahi must suffer willingly, remain peaceful, and appeal to the opponent's conscience। 3 एस्पेक्ट्स याद कर देना, 3 पॉइंटर्स याद रख लो। सत्याग्रह का मतलब क्या है? सत्याग्रह मीन्स होल्डिंग फर्मली टू द ट्रूथ। और फिर उसके बाद आप बताओगे कि किस तरीके से गांधी की पॉलिटिकल फिलॉसफी का मेन एस्पेक्ट और मेन वेपन बन गया था नॉन वायलेंस। दैट इवन इफ यू वांट टू रेजिस्ट यू नीड टू रिमेन नॉन वायलेंट। एंड फॉर Mahatma Gandhi, what being satyagrahi meant for, if you are a true satyagrahi, it meant that you are going to suffer willingly. These are the points. A true satyagrahi must suffer willingly, remain peaceful, and he should appeal to the opponent's conscience, right? So Gandhi made the political struggle a moral struggle, because he added the moral values to the political struggle as well. And uh, now comes the most important incident if we talk about his political life. That was the South Africa experience, where he faced racial discrimination. That we know about it, but let's just talk about it, and please write about it as well. Okay. So when we talk about Mahatma Gandhi, he faced racial discrimination in South Africa. This incident is also important as your confessional incident was important in his childhood. This point is important when we talk about his political philosophy. Okay? So when we talk about South African experience, we know that Gandhi faced racial discrimination there. He was thrown out of the train despite holding a valid ticket, and it shows, this incident basically shows that Indians were suffering unjust laws. But what did Gandhi do? Gandhi did not plot any revenge, rather, he organized a peaceful resistance. Why? Because Gandhi was of the belief that violent retaliation would destroy the moral truth. And because we know the rule of being satyagrahi, it was willingly you need to suffer. So he believed that peaceful suffering would expose the injustice before the world. You need to peacefully suffer in order to expose the injustice. And if you will become violent, it will destroy the moral truth, the very purpose of your fight, or the very purpose of your struggle or your resistance. Therefore, this was the idea that became the foundation of his political philosophy. Okay, he believed in non-violence, so that is why I am saying that he made the political philosophy or political struggle as a moral struggle. Then we have talked about this South African experience. इतना ही बताना है कि किस तरीके से he faced racial discrimination. He was thrown out of the train, but still he did not retaliate or took revenge in a violent manner. Rather, he suffered in silence because he believed violence creates or violence would destroy the moral truth, whereas personal suffering would expose the injustice before the world. ठीक है, दो चीज़ें इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट है। पहले आप इंसिडेंट बता देना, फिर आप बताना कि उन्होंने रिवेंज नहीं लिया। क्यों नहीं लिया? बिकॉज़ अगर रिवेंज ले लेते तो मॉरल ट्रूथ ख़त्म हो जाता, वही डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाता जिसके लिए ही स्टैंड्स बाय। लेकिन उन्होंने क्या किया? ही बिलीव्ड दैट ही नीड टू पीसफुली सफ़र इन ऑर्डर टू एक्सपोज़। पीसफुली सफ़र करेंगे तो ही रियलिटी सबके सामने दर्शा पाएँगे। बिकॉज़ व्हेन वी फाइट वी ऑल्सो से दैट वो उस लेवल पे गिर गया है, आप तो वैसे नहीं हो, आप तो मत गिरो। सो दैट वे, लाइक फॉर द थिंग दैट यू स्टैंड फॉर, गांधी स्टैंड्स फॉर ट्रूथ। तो अगर आपको आप ट्रूथ के बारे में बात करते हो और अगर आप वैसे पीस वायलेंट ही हो जाओ तो क्या पर्पस रहेगा उस पूरे कॉन्सेप्ट का। देन वी मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड वी टॉक अबाउट नेक्स्ट important थिंग, दैट इज नॉन कॉपरेशन मूवमेंट। When we talk about non-cooperation movement, we know about it, like it was to not cooperate with the Britishers and to boycott their goods and services. So when India, during India's freedom struggle, Gandhi was encouraging boycott of British goods, and he was also supporting the peaceful protests. He believed in peacefully protesting, and he was telling the people to not cooperate with injustice. See, Gandhi was not supporting injustice. He was just saying that your way of resistance should be non-violent. You have to fight back against injustice, but in a non violent manner. So Gandhi was somebody who was strictly opposing violence. Like, I know this is very generic and basic, but you sometimes you have to remember a few points so that you can write. Even if it is generic, sometimes you tend to forget certain points in order to make your answer a proper answer and to give it a good length. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू। सुन लो एक बार, कभी कभी कुछ बच्चे सिर्फ वीडियो सुनने आते हैं, वीडियो लेक्चर्स फॉर दीज इजी टॉपिक्स, सो सुनोगे तो याद रह जाएगा, ज़्यादा मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। ओके, सो नाउ लेट्स टॉक अबाउट, वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट नॉन कॉपरेशन मूवमेंट, कि किस तरीके से आपको कॉपरेट नहीं करना है ब्रिटिशर्स के साथ, यू हैव टू बॉयकॉट देयर गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, और साथ ही साथ में आपको इनजस्टिस भी नहीं सहना है। दिस वाज द आइडिया ऑफ नॉन कॉपरेशन। देन व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट नॉन कॉपरेशन मूवमेंट, देन सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट आता है चौरी चौरा इंसिडेंट। We know about it. Chori Chora incident of 1922. What happened here is that suddenly violence broke during this protest, or during this uh, movement. And this was the time when Gandhi immediately suspended the movement. जिसी टाइम जब नॉन कॉपरेशन मूवमेंट इतना ज़्यादा चल मतलब इट वाज इन सच बिग एक मूवमेंट बन चुका था। उस टाइम चौरी चौरा इंसिडेंट जब हुआ एंड वायलेंस ब्रोक आउट, गांधी immediately suspended the movement, and this was the decision that shocked all the leaders, and Gandhi was the one who believed that freedom cannot be achieved through this manner. आप नॉन वायलेंस से ही ट्रूथ गेन कर सकते हो, एंड फ्रीडम कैन नॉट बी अचीव्ड थ्रू वायलेंस। अगर हम, अकॉर्डिंग टू गांधी, अगर हमें मिल भी जाती फ्रीडम वायलेंस से, देन इट वुड हैव नॉट क्रिएटेड ट्रू जस्टिस। आप जस्टिस नहीं सर्व कर पाते अगर आप भी उन जैसे बन जाते। So, this was the decision that shocked many leaders, but Gandhi remained adamant, and he argued that freedom achieved through violence cannot produce true justice. So, चौरी चौरा इंसिडेंट आप नॉन कॉपरेशन मूवमेंट में बता देना कि किस तरीके से गांधी वाज ऑफ द सपोर्ट ऑफ नॉन वायलेंस, किस तरीके से इंडिया के फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल में ही वाज सपोर्टिंग to retaliate, but in a cooperative manner, in a non-violent manner. But Chori Chora incident 1922 में हुआ, and he suspended the movement, and this created an impact. क्योंकि गांधी जी बिलीव कर रहे थे, बिलीव ही बिलीव्ड दैट you cannot achieve justice, you cannot achieve freedom through violence. Again वही पॉइंट है, ट्रूथ और वायलेंस नॉन वायलेंस को आप जोड़ रहे हो। Then we will ponder upon this point of Gandhi ji, which says that Gandhi was of the belief that one should accept suffering rather than inflicting suffering on others. Let me quote it once more. Gandhi believed that one should accept suffering rather than inflicting suffering on others. I told you about this when we were talking about what being a true satyagrahi meant. So, Gandhi was of the belief that खुद सफ़र कर लो लेकिन किसी और को हार्म मत करो, किसी और के साथ किसी और के साथ वायलेंट मत हो, किसी और को परेशान मत करो। दैट इज़ वाई ड्यूरिंग द इंडियन फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल ही suffered a lot. He frequently fasted, he went to prison, he accepted the hardships peacefully. Because why? What was the purpose behind it? Gandhi was of the belief that suffering purifies the protester. अगर आप सफ़र कर रहे हो वो आपको प्योरीफाई कर रहा है एज वेल एज सोसाइटी। सो दिस वाज द मेन ideology behind this particular point that I'm telling you. So this idea of Gandhi ji made politics deeply spiritual. See that you are relating suffering with moral purity, that how it is purifying yourself or the protesters as well as the society. If I am suffering, then the society is getting purified. So that was his idea. of suffering, that you should suffer yourself rather than inflicting that suffering on others. Why? Because it cleanses or it purifies the protester as well as the society. ये भी important point है लिखना, क्योंकि अगर आप लिख रहे हो नॉन वायलेंस और ट्रूथ के बारे में तो you know he talks about सत्याग्रह, सत्याग्रह talks about suffering, खुद सफ़र करना, और अगर आप सफ़र कर रहे हो तो उसका पर्पस क्या है वो भी बताना पड़ेगा ना आपको, that why he believed that one should suffer, because he believed that it cleanses or it purifies the protester as well as the society. तो ये कहीं ना कहीं ये जो ideology थी, this gives our politics a direction to spirituality. He connects our politics to moral morality and spirituality. कनेक्ट कभी कभी आपको ये क्वेश्चन भी आ सकता है, आता तो वैसे कम ही आएगा, बट स्टिल इफ by chance somebody asks you about how he transforms politics into a spiritual or a moral form, या फिर किस तरीके से पॉलिटिक्स उन्होंने मॉरल स्फेयर या फिर आपका स्पिरिचुअल स्फेयर बना दिया, तो आप इसमें ये पॉइंट्स लिखोगे, राइट? एंड देन वी टॉक अबाउट हिज रिलीजियस एंड philosophical influence. जब spirituality की बात कर ली है तो now let's dive into this. Now Gandhi's ideas, if we talk about Gandhi's ideas, were influenced by Hinduism, Jainism, Christianity, and he was very much influenced by ideas of Leo Tolstoy. ये भी आप लिख सकते हो, it is a good point. And when we talk about these influences, we may say that from Jainism, Gandhi learned Ahimsa Parmo Dharma. Please write this. So, Ahimsa Parmo Dharma comes from Jainism, and this idea was adopted by Mahatma Gandhi. What does this mean? Ahimsa Parmo Dharma means that non-violence is the highest duty, right? And then we talk about Christianity. From Christianity, especially the Sermon on the Mount, he learned love for enemies, forgiveness, humility. ये दो तीन पॉइंट्स याद रख लेना. This will add to your answer and will give weight to it. अगर स्पिरिचुअलिटी की बात कर रहे हो जब आप उसकी पॉलिटिक्स में, तो यू कैन ऐड दैट हाउ where did he get these ideas from different religions, Hinduism, Jainism, Christianity, and he was very much influenced by Leo Tolstoy. Okay, then you will talk about that how what did he learn from Jainism, what did he learn from Christianity. So throughout the novel we can see that how Gandhi has transformed the politics into a moral or spiritual practice. If we give a critical aspect to this novel, we may say that this autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi is admired worldwide for its honesty, because he shows his weaknesses here. He has talked about everything, like his confession about that when he sold when he stole that gold piece of gold, that shows his honesty. And his autobiography is morally deep, because of course he relates even politics with moral practices, and it also has a spiritual vision. Of course we see that how he relates even politics to spirituality, where you can talk about that non-violence and satyagraha movement, and how he believes that taking inflicting the harm or violence on oneself is better rather than inflicting it on others. Okay, and then we talk about Nehruji. Nehruji was of the belief that Gandhi's novel is of confessional style. Of course, he is confessing about his deeds, like incidents that he talks about in the confession that he made, what that changed or shaped his whole life, his political ideas, his philosophy. Along with this, he talks about his relationship with his wife, and the other things that happened throughout his life. So this novel is written in a self-confessional style, and that is why this makes um, this autobiography as uh, a powerful novel, and it looks believable, it looks relatable, a normal human life. And the language here shows the life of, or shows the personality of Gandhi, because it is written in a very simple and a conversational, plain conversational style. Gandhi ji हमने पहले ही पढ़ा, he was a simple man, and therefore that is why it is critics believe that the whole autobiography shows his personality because it is written in a plain, simple conversational style. Okay, so Gandhiji here is basically not presenting himself as a hero, as I've already told you. Rather, he presents himself as a learner. He is constantly correcting himself. अभी कस्तूरबा गांधी का एग्जांपल ले लो, जब वो अपने रिलेशनशिप के बारे में बताते हैं, कन्फेशन जो उन्होंने अपने फादर को किया उसका एग्जांपल ले लो. सो ही इज़ नॉट प्रेजेंटिंग हिमसेल्फ एज अ हीरो हु नोज एवरीथिंग, रादर ही इज़ शोइंग हिमसेल्फ एज अ लर्नर हु इज़ learning throughout his life. So this autobiography is basically spiritual, moral and political journey of Mahatma Gandhi, and he does not hide his weaknesses, failures and doubts in this autobiography. That makes it a commendable work, and the incidents show that how Gandhi believed in moral purity rather than political victory when he suspended that non-cooperation movement during Chori Chora incident, which shows that how he gave preference to moral purity rather than this political victory. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you liked this video. In order to support me, please like, share and comment, and we'll meet next time. Thank you for watching it. Bye bye, take care.